Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We've got an exciting episode prepared for you today. We're headed halfway across the world to the Arctic Circle in the majestic and magical Lapland region of Finland. We'll journey along with expert trackers into the cold tranquility of an Arctic night as they try and capture for us a glimpse of the amazing phenomenon that is the Northern Lights. Stay tuned. We'll be live in Finland in just a few moments.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you believe that life is wonderful in principle, but for some reason just isn't so consistently in practice? Every life will have its ups and downs. But have you ever thought that if there were only more people around you encouraging, uplifting, and even inspiring you, then life would be more fulfilling? If only people like George and Mary Bailey were in your inner circle, then life could truly be wonderful all the time? If so, we've got good news for you, because you can find such people on this podcast and at zuzunetwork.com. This podcast is the vision of Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu, and Dr. Chris Brunell, illustrating how the timeless message of It's a Wonderful Life can be and is applied to our modern lives and situations. Indeed, when you take that message to heart, your life will become immeasurably more wonderful. Visit us at zuzunetwork.com and listen to this podcast series to learn more about how. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu. All grown up.
They are a spectacular sight that few see, but all are familiar with. The Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis. This is an episode that we are broadcasting as well in near full length as a video podcast on Wonderful Living Media's streaming channel. But as always, you can also see video clips on our Instagram page, www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up. If you didn't catch those details, we'll repeat it at the end of the show. And we also have links on our main website. Karolyn and Chris are live via video with tour guide Juhani Vanhatapio and photographer Ryan Oliveira. They are setting up outside at a prime viewing location. Karolyn and Chris are warm and cozy, joining us from their home studio today. Welcome, everyone, to today's special show. And an extra special thanks to our special guests who are braving the cold thousands of miles away today to make this possible. Stay warm, fellas.
Welcome to this virtual event with the Northern Lights. My name is Juhani. We are here at Apukka Resort, which is one of the best resorts close to Rovaniemi. This is very friendly place for seeing the Northern Lights. Most of the hotels in Rovaniemi, they have light pollution that you can't really observe the Northern Lights there. But Apukka is a nice exception because here they keep the lights at the minimum. This is one of our cameras, and what you're basically seeing from this image is Northern Lights in the northern direction, so in the northern sky. This is the typical direction where the Northern Lights usually appear. They are still fairly low in the horizon. Sometimes the lights can be straight above us at 90 degrees angle. This is already very, very nice. The Northern Lights appear, so this is the perfect timing in a way. have you actually seen the Northern Lights before?
We're in California. They were here this summer for a couple nights.
There was a solar flare.
That was the only time we've ever seen them.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So Rovaniemi is known for being a good place to see the Northern Lights. They say there is about 50% chance on any given night to see the Northern Lights. So how the nights usually go is that first we will drive away from the city if we start from there. Of course, if you're in a good location such as this Apukka resort here, you don't really have to go anywhere. You can be very close to your cabin and you can just step outside and observe the sky. People always ask me, like, is it even possible to see the Northern Lights with your own eyes, or is this what we are seeing just a camera trick? I always like to explain to people that there are these different levels of the Northern Lights. First level is what I call zero activity. And in zero activity, there is no Northern Lights. So that's what we had about an hour ago. Nothing to see. If the activity improves, the second level is what I call low activity. And low activity is that you can actually see something. Nobody is really like celebrating, because in low activity, you don't really see the colors. You see something, but it looks more like a cloud. So it's not so impressive, but it's very nice that if you have somewhat decent camera, the pictures actually look amazing. Sometimes people feel that it's not good, that there is a difference between the eye and the camera, but the camera sensor is just more accurate than the human eye. I think it's a good thing because I like photography, goes well hand in hand with the Northern Lights. Did you have a chance to take photos?
We couldn't see it with the naked eye, but we could see it through our phone camera.
So that's the camera effect. I'm happy to say that there are more levels than level 1 and level 2. So the level 3 is when you can actually see the colors with your own eyes. Most typical color being green, which is the main color what we have now. So green Northern Lights are usually quite calm. So it's not usually very fast. Usually like here, what you can see, the edges are somewhat sharp. Somewhat easy to tell where the Northern Light, where the shape starts and where it ends. Now, actually right now above green, there is red Northern Lights. From this live, it's actually not so obvious because red is a little bit challenging color. From the photos, the red appears clearly. So I'll just take a quick picture. I have my camera set up behind me. Live stream is actually quite challenging, or videographing the Northern Lights, because it's very dark. So currently I'm using 10-second exposure time, which is, I would say, quite common time for using the exposure. Sometimes if the Northern Lights are very, very dim and it's very, very dark, we could use something like 30 seconds. You can imagine it takes a long time to wait for a single picture. Sometimes if the Northern Lights are very bright, we might use just like 1 second timer. There's quite a huge scale how bright they can be. I'm actually getting too much flare to my pictures. Usually we wouldn't like to have any other lights here, but we have to use for the live stream. Maybe I can show from the camera.
How cold is it?
It's actually very cold. I'm freezing.
That is beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, it's green streaming across in red. Oh my goodness.
So it's not terribly cold, but to be honest, this is one of the coldest nights we've had for a couple of weeks. Whenever the temperature drops, it always feels cold. But like in the winter, when we have -30, -20, it's really cold. People usually connect the cold to the Northern Lights. There is truth to that, because usually when you have clear sky like we have tonight, it's usually colder. When people try to see the Northern Lights, they are usually freezing. If you really want to get into the right mindset, you have to open your freezer, and -40, I think, was the coldest night. I think it's quite same with the Fahrenheit as with we have Celsius here, obviously. It's just very, very cold. Typically, we start our tours around 8 or 9 p.m. and usually we drive between 30 minutes to an hour away. Usually what we are waiting for is the final level of the Northern Light explosion. It sounds very dramatic, but to be honest, it is actually quite dramatic what happens. Whenever we start the tours with the customers, I don't know how long we are going to stay. There is really no warning, and it's really difficult to predict. Only thing I can really say to people is that if I see the situation being not good, that's just something we can say. However, Sometimes the situation is really good from the satellite. So then I can just say, well, now we just need to wait. We need to be patient. But the challenge is, I don't know when this explosion will happen. It can happen at 11, it can happen at 1 a.m. So that's the real challenge with the Northern Lights. You wish to capture that kind of explosion. It doesn't happen every night, but whenever it happens, I think it's one of the most beautiful things you could see. Sometimes people might go outdoors and they look at the sky and basically there is no northern lights or very little northern lights, and they say, well, maybe tonight is not so good night, and they go back to their cabin, and at the same time the whole sky goes crazy for 15 minutes and then it disappears. At Beyond Arctic, we are specialized in the Northern Light tours. That's our number one service. So we try to help people see the Northern Lights. Cool if we see level 1, level 2, level 3, but what we always try is the level 4. Of course, we can't really control that except for maybe waiting a bit longer.
I take it that people would stay in the van till the situation is good.
So the typical experience is that there is usually driving, sometimes a lot of driving because of the cloudy weather. Usually we try to make a fire at some point during the night, because fire is nice, it's comfortable, it's good for barbecuing something, telling stories. So we have all kind of different things we do during the Northern Lights tour to keep people motivated. And of course, it's a big problem if people are severely cold. So we try to help people with best of our abilities. Actually, a funny thing about me is that my favorite hobby is ice swimming.
Oh my Lord.
So, have you ever tried?
No. I've heard good things about it.
Yes. Well, I was a person who would never go to the cold water to being somebody who tries to do it every day. I have pushed my limits.
So you're an expert in being cold.
Yes. So now actually what you're seeing is what I like to call the most normal form of the Northern Lights. This is called Northern Lights arc. It's kind of like a rainbow shape. You can see it's very wide. Oh, there was a shooting star. That was pretty cool. So it's very wide, and basically, if the activity is good, what will happen is that shape there will start to go higher and higher in the sky. So if it stays relatively low in the horizon, it usually means that the activity is not particularly good. The sign of the explosion is that it always goes higher and higher and higher. The higher it goes, the pressure goes up. And now it's actually also cool. Maybe you can even see some small movement. And that's actually also a good sign for the lights. And now the interesting thing is that if the Northern Lights go higher in the sky, maybe they get a bit brighter. If there is this kind of explosion, after the explosion, there is usually no Northern Lights. So actually what you're seeing, those are some of the lovely cabins at the Apukka Resort. I am a local, and if I had to choose hotel where to go, I think I would actually come here because these cabins are really cool. Some of them have this kind of glass structure, so you could observe the lights directly from your cabins, which is a cool idea.
You would turn all the lights off, though, wouldn't you, in order to see?
So those lights on the left, those are our lights to create some mood for the stream. Those cabins, they have lights because people are not aware of the Northern Lights, probably. And it's actually a small pond, which you see here in the foreground. I think it's freezing. There's some ice. When we arrived here, it was just open water. So usually also what happens is that this rainbow shape that first appears, at some point it starts to transform. So it starts to really crawl in the sky like this huge green python. Can also start to really twist around itself, which I call by the name Northern Light spiral. And spiral is one of my favorite shapes because it looks very, very cool in the photos. Tall shape there in the sky, and that's actually called the Northern Lights pillar. So pillars sometimes appear, just these very tall lights.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so these are from my photo album. So sometimes you find yourself standing on the frozen lake, on the frozen road, and this is the kind of spiral I was talking about. So it makes this kind of huge curve in the sky. Sometimes we find ourselves skiing in the swamps, which are great for the northern lights because there is easy visibility to any direction. So that makes things much easier. And the good thing about skiing is that you can really go into these places which are not accessible any other ways. So you can really like have those nice wilderness adventures. Do you like skiing?
No.
Yeah, skiing is not the most popular kind of hobby, but it's very convenient way for seeing the northern light in a very nice situation.
It looks as though that it's a little darker, as far as the northern lights in the sky.
It changes. So first it might be pretty dim, then it brightens up for some time, and then it again disappears almost. But the biggest change is when the actual explosion happens. That's when the brightest northern lights, the fastest moving northern lights appear. So that's actually the biggest change. But this kind of small changing, what we are observing here is perfectly normal.
So it's almost like it has a life of its own.
That's true. People have lived in these lands for thousands of years, and people have always wondered about what is this that we are experiencing here?
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris, and check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Are you wondering whether to sell or donate the car you no longer need or want? Consider that. Donating it to a legitimate, legally recognized nonprofit organization, not only will you receive a tax deduction, but you'll be contributing to a worthy cause. Finding a worthy nonprofit organization can be time-consuming and even a bit stressful. I'm here to present to you one of the most amazing, legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organizations in the world. The United Breast Cancer Foundation. The UBCF provides screenings, treatments, aftercare services, educational materials, as well as patient and family assistance. We ask that you help in that mission by donating your unwanted or unused vehicle to the UBCF. Simply call 888-842-5505. The process is fast and easy. Call 888-842-5505. 888-842-5505. Help us in our mission and get a tax deduction. Call 888-842-5505. Thank you for your support.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and don't have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you don't pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call if you've been injured in an auto accident. Call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Auto Accident Help Desk.
Join Zuzu's network today at ZuzuNetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at ZuzuNetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
And you can imagine the time before internet, how would you explain this to your friend? Strange glow in the sky, moving light.
You have to see it to believe it.
Yes. And we like to say that the northern lights are dancing, especially with this kind of explosion. They move in the sky. It's almost like a dance. Like now on the stream, you can see this kind of small movement. It's not visible to our eyes, but the camera can capture it. I think northern lights are one of the most exciting things we have here. I am biased because addicted to the northern lights for the past 5 years. When you see this explosion one time, you just want to see it again. you're not getting enough from it because each time is unique, each time is different. So that's maybe the thing that keeps me motivated through every night.
So how did you guys get involved in this adventure-based work?
Actually, in 2017, I started to work in tourism. I first worked as a luxury guide. So we had some high-end clients, Hollywood stars coming here, and I would help them with different activities. Like we would go to the reindeer farm, we would go with the huskies, we would see the Santa Claus. And always one of the things that we also did was we tried to see the Northern Lights. That was one of the activities which I liked the most. So after that, I joined Beyond Arctic because Beyond Arctic focuses heavily on the Northern Lights and the photography part of it. So that's how I got into Beyond Arctic, started to work as a Northern Lights guide. I go out to see Northern Lights on my free time. It's very motivating and people always thank for the experience. Even sometimes when we don't see the Northern Lights, they see that we give our best shot each night.
No, it really helps that you're enthusiastic about it. You can tell that you really do, you enjoy it as much, if not more than us.
For the Northern Lights, we need three things on each night in order to see them. The first one is darkness, which seems like an obvious one. But actually in the summertime here at the Arctic Circle, we have the midnight sun. Midnight sun is very nice, but it prevents us from seeing any Northern Lights for about almost 4 months of the year. The second obstacle, of course, is the clouds. So the clouds always mean that we have to drive sometimes long distances. And the final piece of the puzzle is then the solar wind, which creates the Northern Lights. So now when we're able to actually see Northern Lights, we have all those three conditions have been met. This, I would say, is the level 3. So I can see the green with my own eyes when I look at the sky. This is not the explosion yet, but like I said, it's quite difficult to predict when or if it's going to happen. But this is very nice. This is very nice. I wish you were here.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
So the solar wind, what is that?
Solar wind is basically hot plasma current flowing from the sun. It hits the earth. The particles in the solar wind, they travel to the northern latitudes, so to the Arctic Circle, and to the southern latitude, so the southern circle. And they basically, those particles, they travel here because here the magnetic field of the Earth is weaker. So those particles gain access to the atmosphere, where these particles then they react to different molecules or atoms. So there's this kind of collision, and the collision creates light, which we then observe as the Northern Lights here in the Arctic Circle. So the sun creates this solar wind, and here in the north, we observe it as the Northern Lights. And the interesting thing is that if there is a very strong activity, the Northern Lights can be seen much further southern latitudes than normally. This is one of the pictures from the autumn. One of the things I love about this picture is the reflections on the river. And here you can clearly see like the red Northern Lights, which are kind of like a curtain above the green Northern Lights. This is one of the craziest lights I've ever seen. And to be honest, it felt like being in a different world. I wouldn't say I'm like the most religious person, but these kind of experiences, they are somewhat like spiritual, you know? Because this photo captures just one moment during this craziness.
Was that during one of the explosions?
Yes. It's like the whole sky is dancing above me, and there's something about it. It's difficult to explain. I'm super excited, and I'm just observing the nature with all its glory, and I'm just happy for such a show.
Wow. Thousands of years ago, over all the generations of people that have seen these lights, I imagine there's a lot of that kind of like folklore.
Absolutely. This magical creature called fire fox. It's not a regular fox, but like a fox that has a burning tail. And the tale says that this particular fox is running far in the north where the Scandinavian mountains are. And when its tail hits the mountainside, it creates these sparkles, which then move to the sky and start moving. So that's why the Finnish word for the Northern Lights is revontuli. And revontuli translates as fox fire. It's sometimes funny when we see like a red fox on our tours and we can just say, hey, look who goes there. Also, it's very interesting that the Aboriginal people of the Finnish Lapland, the Sami people, they thought that whenever there was a strong northern lights appear, that maybe something is wrong, and they didn't know, like, could it be dangerous? So an example would be that the children are playing outside, strong northern lights appear, okay, kids, come inside. Of course, nowadays we know it's not dangerous, but back in the day, how would you know? Funnily enough, I've actually met one person in Rovaniemi who is afraid of northern lights, and I found that to be quite funny.
What did they think was going to happen?
She told me a story how she was driving alone here in the wintertime. The northern lights were so strong that she just felt intimidated by them. So she put the sun protector down so that she wouldn't have to look at the sky.
But you don't have any air coming out,
Like your breath is not showing?
Can you see your breath?
I can, yes. If you could touch my feet, you would understand how cold I am.
So after you're done, are you going to go jump in the water?
I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning. It's a nice way to wake up for the day. So yeah, here's a picture. And the red slightly appearing there above the actual green.
So this is a picture that you just took?
Yes.
A couple minutes?
Now it's midnight here. This is usually the prime time. We started before you guys joined. It was nothing. And actually, right when you joined, we had the level 2. So there was something. And then some time ago, it was level 3 where I could actually see the green when I was looking behind. And now it's again level 2. This is how it usually goes. So probably, if I had to make a guess, I would say there won't be an explosion. One of the scales that tells how strong the northern lights are, it goes basically from 10 to 100. Basically 10 is nothing, and right now we have 20. Okay? So usually for the explosion, we have to go over 30. Sometimes we go 50, and some of the record nights of the season, it's like over 100. If the number had been much higher, then I would have known it's going to happen. But then again, like when exactly?
So this is a tease for us to get our tickets to go up there and spend some time up there and see our own explosions.
Come here. You can. This Apukka resort is very nice because you can already see northern lights from here. And beyond Arctic is we are here to help people to find the northern lights, so we make it more likely to see the lights, especially if there are clouds or it's difficult situations.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode, and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This is an important announcement for anyone who wants health insurance, even if you missed the deadline. Right now, you can get the health insurance you and your family need from top insurance providers, even if you have pre-existing conditions or no insurance at all. The Plus Benefits Health Insurance toll-free number has been extended to help anyone who wants health insurance coverage now, or if you need a better plan or a lower price. Call Plus Benefits Health Insurance now at 800-332-1993. The call is 100% free and the help is real. Call 800-332-1993. That's 800-332-1993.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-288-7088, 888-288-7088. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, NC. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult your financial professional before making an investment decision.
1 out of 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. And the chances are you know at least one person who's been personally affected. But right now, you can help. It's simple. Donate your unwanted vehicle, RV, or trailer to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. It's the easiest way to contribute to one of the nation's leading charitable organizations. The process is fast, easy, and free. Not only will you be helping, but you'll also receive a tax deduction. The United Breast Cancer Foundation offers an array of programs and services that help and support families and individuals dealing with breast cancer. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. Simply give us a call to get started, and we'll schedule a pickup date that is convenient for you. If you have any questions you would like answered before initiating the donation process, please feel free to call us toll-free at 800-324-6218. That's 800-324-6218. 800-324-6218.
Zuzu's book club features recommendations from Zuzu herself on books she loves and thinks you will love also. All of the books that the club reads, fiction and nonfiction, are inspirational and uplifting. Folks, this is a life-enhancing club to be part of. You can sign up for free at zuzunetwork.com/book club. That's zuzunetwork.com/book club.
This is Zuzu, all grown up.
For example, my success rate for the previous season was 74%.
Pretty good.
I wish it was closer to 100, but hitting 100 is not really possible. But 74 is something I can sleep my night well. Yes. Well, first of all, people don't know too much about the Northern Lights. And then a lot of people are super pessimistic about the Northern Lights. When they come here, they might go into the city center, into a hotel. Then they try to look at the sky and they don't see anything. And then they are like, well, like this is not really what the marketing pictures were telling us. Northern Lights are never easy. If you go to Apukka Resort, it's easier. And if you want to have the best chance, you can join Beyond Arctic, and we do our best.
We love holidays, especially Christmas. Is that a good time to visit?
Yeah, so Rovaniemi is known for a few things, and one of them is the Santa Claus. So Rovaniemi is the official hometown of Santa Claus, which obviously means that this is the ideal place to spend a Christmas. So if you want to have the best kind of Christmas experience, I think this is a great place because of the snowy trees. We have the polar night during the December, so it's really dark. It's also quite nice experience. For Christmas, very good, and children love spend time here in December. The only downside, which I have to say about December, two things. First is that it's actually really expensive, because all the hotels tend to be fully booked. Mm-hmm. So you usually have to pay quite a much to have a hotel room. That's a negative side. And the other one is that December is not the best month for the Northern Lights, because it happens to be that December tends to have cloudy weather, snowing. So those make seeing the Northern Lights more difficult. So if you are really keen on the Northern Lights, maybe then you should choose some other month. For example, my favorite month is March, because March has the easiest weather here in Rovaniemi. If you want that Christmas experience, there's no better place than Rovaniemi, and of course you can try your luck seeing the Northern Lights.
Well, you talked me out of December, so
yes. I just always want to tell people like based on the priorities. Northern Lights priority, see you in March.
Right. You got it. You know, what kind of camera equipment do you suggest?
So we could group customers into three different categories. The first one is professional photographers. They could have similar equipment as we. So we are using the Sony A7 camera bodies so we typically use some lenses like Sigma, for example, which are fairly expensive ones, but really good for the nighttime photography. So usually when we have some professional photographers, we just try to help them get good frames, good pictures of the Northern Lights, and maybe advise them on the night photography. Then the second group we have is people like you who have something like iPhone. So iPhone, especially the newer models, they are really, really good in the low light situation. But the downside, what you usually need for the phone pictures to be good is a tripod. So we have these tripods, which we will provide to our customers. And you can even put your phone into one of these. And that actually makes a huge difference in the nighttime photography. The last group of people we have is people who have phones which are not so good for the photography. And we usually take some photos, but usually the outcome is not so good because low light is actually quite challenging. But the good thing for them is that we always take photographs of the people. So, and it's included in our service. So people are still going to get good pictures even if they don't have good cameras.
Well, if anyone would be interested in learning more about Beyond Arctic Adventures, what's your website?
So Beyond Arctic website is beyondarctic.com. We're also quite active on Instagram, Beyond Arctic. We have been done very well also in TripAdvisor. So we are among the highest rated tour operators in Rovaniemi area. So when people search for Northern Light tours in Rovaniemi, Beyond Arctic is going to be one of that appears, and we have amazing ratings. Northern Lights is our primary tour, the most popular tour, but we also do daytime tours. So people like to go to the reindeer farms where we will take them and also take pictures. We have skiing in the woods with the photography also. And then there are a couple of these different national parks where we take people. For example, there is this place called Riisitunturi, which is known for its snowy trees. There's no better place for snowy trees. The other one is a place called Korowoma, which has these frozen waterfalls. So that also makes a great daytime activity. Maybe one of my favorites is the ice fishing tour, which we do in the daytime. That's also one of my hobbies. So when I'm done with the swimming, I start fishing.
We talked to Santa Claus about that earlier today, up there.
Okay.
Because he said he loves the ice fish, but without the hook.
So you just sit on the ice with a pole? Is that what you do?
In a hut?
No, I think the hut is like Canadian thing. So we drill the hole and then we put the bait under the ice and then we just sit and try to catch fish. It's very meditating activity until you find the fish. I personally like it very much because there is something very meaningful when you catch your own fish, and then if you prepare it and it tastes good, there is something about that connection which I find valuable. Majority of our catch is the European perch, which is the national fish of Finland. We also have a lot of common roach. We also have the biggest fish are the northern pike, which we have plenty here. We also have burbot, which is this snake-looking creature, but tastes very good. In the summertime, primary target for fishing would be Atlantic salmon, trout, and my favorite, grayling. We have Atlantic salmon coming from the Baltic Sea, and then we also have Atlantic salmon coming from the Norwegian Sea in the far north.
Ooh.
Well, that would be nice.
This is an amazing place for outdoor activities. Northern Lights is one of them, but we have so much more. Hiking, fishing, moose hunting, berry picking. My favorite is cloudberries. And then also mushrooms. We have amazing porcini mushrooms growing in the woods. It's easy to stay connected to the nature.
Thank you so much. This has been
so exciting. I feel like this is a miracle.
Would be great to go out there and visit.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. We really enjoyed this, and I know our listeners will enjoy it too. And
thank you.
I think they'll want to come as well, I'm sure.
It's been a treat.
Yes, it really has.
So Rovaniemi is the place where you should travel if you want to see the Northern Lights.
Give us your website one more time.
The website is beyondarctic.com.
Thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you have a good rest of the day. And I think we will start to get warmer, feel our toes again.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
I've seen the light. Well, lights. Northern Lights, that is. Today's episode has really given us a glimpse into what it means to see the Northern Lights in person and made us feel like we are there. I hope we'll all get the chance to see them in person too. Thank you, dear viewers, for joining us on this very special adventure. We hope that whatever you have the privilege to see, that you see beautiful and amazing things in life that are full of light and wonder. Thank you to our special guests from Beyond Arctic Adventures for their amazing work tonight and for giving so much effort to make this special event happen. To both of you, to Karolyn and Dr. Chris, and everyone out there in Wonderful Land, take care, don't let the cold in, and be the light you want to see in the world. This is Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out zuzunetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to zuzunetwork.com/transcripts.
This is an episode that we are broadcasting as well in near full length as a video podcast on Wonderful Living Media's streaming channel. But as always, you can also see video clips on our Instagram page, www.instagram.com/Zuzu all grown up. And we also have links on our main website.
Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joelle.
Managing producer Karina Filatova. A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.